Hello and welcome to this speed build, which is the second in a series that I am doing for a neighbourhood let's play that I'm going to be doing. You might call it a neighbourhood let's play or a rotational let's play. Either way, the idea is that there are 4 families that I'm going to be playing with on rotation, all in this same neighbourhood that we're building in now, Bargain Bend in Willow Creek. And then the 5th lot in this neighbourhood I'm going to be using as a community lot. As a place for them to all meet up at, which is kind of like a library cafe build that I've already done and will also be coming out in another video. And yeah, for this video we are building the house for the Pritchett family, and the Pritchett family are a set of grandparents and their grandson, and they are living here in this house, which I'm building right now on screen, as you can see. I took ages, to be honest, like getting this first bit of the exterior done. I'm like working on the roof and just the like layout and exterior look at this point. And yeah, fair warning, it does take me a minute or two to get it how I want it to be, because I had a pretty specific vision when I was building this house of what I wanted it to look like, and I really wanted there to be like a bigger downstairs which would contain kind of like the grandparents' room, and then also like a little study and all the kitchen and living areas, and then I really wanted the grandson, the child, to have this kind of like attic room, so it's like a little bit up in the eaves. I mean, it's actually a pretty big room, but I mean in real life I think it would be pretty nice, like certainly nothing neglectful, but the idea is that, you know, like this is his own little like private space up at the top of the house, kind of like built into the roof, which is a bit similar to the style I did on the last house, which you can kind of see over to the other side of the screen every now and then when it pans over, with these kind of like rooms being built into the roof. And yeah, it's just really, I thought it'd be quite nice to sort of like keep that style consistent through a lot of the builds in this neighbourhood. But yeah, so there'll be 5 builds coming out before the Let's Play starts, and then I will start releasing episodes of the Let's Play. I'm not sure, maybe in a week or 2. I haven't actually recorded them yet. Need to go through and like set up. I've made all the families for the Let's Play, and you just like go through and put in all the like skills and careers and stuff that I like, the way that I want them to be for the beginning of the Let's Play, I guess. So yeah, there's 3 more builds to come first, 3 more speed builds, and then we will start the neighbourhood Let's Play, which should be fun. But yeah, I'll give you a little bit of the background to this family while we're kind of like working on the outside of the house while that's coming together. Like I mentioned, it's going to be 2 grandparents looking after their grandson, and I haven't fully decided like what the storyline is in terms of why the grandparents are looking after the grandson. Like potentially the boy's parents, so the grandparents' children, have died, or maybe they're just not in the picture for some reason. Yeah, I don't really have a specific idea for why that like why the boy is living here, but I was just thought it would be kind of a cute storyline to like have like a younger sim living with the grandparents. As you'll see, like a lot of the house decor is like quite old-fashioned. It's like definitely the grandparents have been living here for a long time, and the boys had to move in with them at some point, perhaps slightly unexpectedly maybe, but they are basically a happy family. And yeah, so we have the grandparents are going to be called Millie and Harold, and Millie, I've decided, is going to be a retired musician. So there's a whole room in this house which is a kind of like, I mean, I guess you'd call it a study, but it's like a hobby room or a music room, and I've got a lot of instruments in there. I think I put a piano, a violin and a guitar, and yeah, the idea is that Millie, the granny, was like a sort of very well renowned musician, maybe used to like travel the world a lot when she was younger, was pretty successful and very talented, but has since retired, and so is now a kind of stay-at-home granny, and her main job is looking after her grandson Tom. And I also gave Tom, the grandson, a little violin, and I thought it'd be cute if she could kind of like mentor him in the violin. Maybe he's also kind of musical, or she at least wants him to be musical. Like maybe he's not quite as talented as she is, but he still like has an interest and enjoys bonding with her over that. And it's kind of accidental, but I realized I gave the child in the last family I did, whose name is Anna, I also gave her a piano. So I'm kind of like, maybe because these two kids, Tom and Anna, will be the same age, maybe they could have a little piano club together that they do or something, or maybe like Millie can kind of like tutor them both at the same time. I thought that could be kind of a cute idea. I'm very keen that like all the families in the neighbourhood like end up interacting a lot. So yeah, that was kind of the idea for that. And then the grandpa, Harold, I think I've decided is going to be a fisherman. I couldn't quite decide whether he should be a fisherman or a gardener. I kind of just want him to have like a part-time job, because the idea is that like he is kind of old and like maybe should be retired, and maybe he used to do more like full-time gardening or full-time fishing, but now he's gone down to just like having it as like a part-time job that he does every now and then, just to kind of like stay active and keep a little bit of money coming in, and it's just kind of like something to do, I suppose. And I can't remember if you can have more than one part-time job in The Sims 4 or not, but if you can, then maybe he could do both, because also this neighborhood is kind of like right next to the community garden, and it's kind of nice that like they could have a place to, or like, because the community garden is right there, they can like practice their gardening really easily. I did also, as you will see coming up, give them a little bit of a garden in the backyard here. I'm kind of also keen that the granny Millie is also into gardening. I think maybe that's something that they like share and bond over, because I think it's nice for her to have a hobby outside of the house as well. But yeah, so that is Millie and Harold. And then yeah, as I said, the grandson Tom is kind of gonna be also this kind of like musical child. I think he's probably like quite softly spoken and like just like a very like sweet boy. Maybe he's had like a few hardships, he's had to like move in with his grandparents, his life hasn't gone like very perfectly so far, and so yeah, he kind of like enjoys having these like quiet hobbies, and is basically just like a sort of a nice friendly sim, not too much of a trouble causer in any way. But yeah, the outside of the house is coming together pretty quickly now. I actually managed to build this house in a relatively normal order. Normally when I build houses, I'm really bad for just like jumping around all over the place, like when I'm working on the inside and then the outside, and there's like, it's not very cohesive. But this house I kind of just like did the whole outside all at once, which was good for me. And yeah, you can see we're out in the backyard now. I got a little bit of play equipment for the child. I thought that'd be nice. Yeah, we've got this little vegetable garden that I'm working on. I thought they could like grow a bit of their own food on, just grow some flowers. I don't know, see what they're into. And then I also put in what I think is a little fishing pond. I can never quite remember like what's a fishing pond and what's a bathing pond. So I really hope I did the fishing pond, because that is what I meant to do. And that is just so that like, because Harold is a fisherman, he like likes to have a little pond in the back garden where he can sit and do more fishing. I guess it's like it's his work and his hobby. Maybe at some point we'll have him retire from like the fishing part-time job, at which point he can just like fish in his own pond in his backyard. I don't know, maybe it doesn't make too much sense for him to have his own pond, but I thought it was cute. And yeah, I gave him this little porch out the back as well with the two little chairs. I thought Millie and Harold could sit out there in the evenings and, I don't know, drink a cup of tea or do their reading together. Could be quite fun. So yeah, they've got porches out the front and out the back. And yeah, we're kind of moving on to the inside of the house now, where I do jump around a little bit more just between the upstairs and the downstairs. The kind of overall theme or style of the house was to like try and make it feel pretty old-fashioned. Like I said, I wanted it to feel like the grandparents had definitely lived here for a long time. Maybe this was the family home that they raised Tom's parents in. And so yeah, they've like not necessarily got super modern decor. It definitely all feels like quite old and fuddy-duddy. And yeah, this is the little attic room for Tom that I sort of like was briefly working on, and then I actually think we go downstairs and work on the downstairs bit for most of it. for like, well, for the rest of the video before we go back to the upstairs again. And so yeah, I kind of like tried to use this like old tiles and old wood tones, and again, they're not like, it's not like everything is super matchy. I just wanted it to feel very like homey and real. I guess like a real family lived here, where, I don't know about you, but I feel like most of the houses I go into, like not all of the furniture is perfectly matched to everything else, and there are like a few different wood tones, and especially for this couple like who are quite old, it's just like everything that they've collected throughout their life, you know. So yeah, they have some newer pieces and some older pieces, and yeah, just a bit of a mix really. And yeah, I was quite specific that I maybe didn't want this family to have a TV. I think that because they have so much other hobby stuff that they're going to be able to use to have fun, as in like to fill their fun need anyway. Like they've got all the musical stuff, and obviously I'm going to make sure Harold enjoys fishing and gardening and stuff, so he'll like be able to increase his fun need there. But it's like, you know, maybe because they are a bit old-fashioned, the grandparents are a bit like, oh no, we don't need a TV, and so they don't have one, which maybe the younger boy would prefer to have a TV, but it's not really his choice because he's a child. And yeah, I also included laundry in this house, as I do with, I think, pretty much every house I make, to be honest. I just enjoy the like extra challenge of having I don't know, something else to like try and make your Sims work on, because the Sims 4 Sims are like pretty hardy in terms of like how low you can let their needs go before you actually have to like really take care of them. So I'm doing a Sims 2 Let's Play at the moment as well, which you should check out if you have not. And it's kind of crazy the difference in terms of like how difficult it is to keep the Sims 2 Sims alive. Like they really want to die of hunger and like sleep deprivation and all of these things, and you end up spending kind of like the majority of the time just like doing actions which keep your Sims alive, so just like having to cook and sleep and make them shower and do all this stuff. Whereas in The Sims 4 I feel like the balance is slightly better, because you don't have this like constant fear that like your Sim is going to die if you just like accidentally neglect it for a couple of days because you're like focusing on a different Sim or something. And yeah, B, it's maybe like a little bit more realistic in terms of real life, like of how quickly you would like die of those kind of things. Like obviously people, I mean you shouldn't, but like people can go quite a while without sleeping and all this stuff. And yeah, it just gives you more time to like actually work on the kind of like storylines and goals and activities that you actually want the Sims to be working on, because I feel like, at least for me when I'm playing, like the bit that's the most fun is not necessarily the bit that's just like keeping them alive. Like the bit that's the most fun is like making a storyline and then also having them like achieve, so like working towards a goal and having them achieve that, and then it's like nice that the needs just like add a level of difficulty to that, so it's like it kind of like stops it getting boring, because it's, I don't know, I guess it's a bit like real life. Like you have things you're trying to achieve, but every now and then you have to like stop and sleep and eat and take care of your basic human needs, and like that kind of makes things slightly harder. So yeah, I guess if there's one critique of The Sims 4, it's that it's like potentially it's too easy. Like the Sims really don't die very easily, but I think overall I actually do prefer it that way to how it was in The Sims 2. And yeah, like just the challenge of having to take care of their needs is kind of a welcome one when it does crop up. But yeah, so we are doing a little bit more decoration, trying to remember to go around and put curtains in all the houses. I wasn't too worried about like sticking to any kind of budget for these builds in general, because I really just wanted the houses to look how I wanted them to look, and there's a couple of families that I thought kind of could be more on a budget and maybe money is more of a struggle, but this family, the Pritchetts, and the family who I did the build for the other day, the Aguileras, in my mind at least, like neither of these families are ones that are like struggling for money. Like they still have to earn it and money has to come in, but like they both probably have like the nicer 2 houses on the street, and they're kind of just like middle class families who have their jobs and earn their money, and like it's not too much of a problem. Whereas the other two families, which I'll talk about their storylines when I like do their speed build videos, maybe they do have a bit of more of a like, not like a rags to riches, but kind of like starting out on like a fairly low budget and like having to maybe like change the house and build it up a bit and all of this kind of stuff. We're working on the kids' room, and we're pretty close to finishing it, to be honest, because I've rambled on. I just put a whole bunch of kids' toys. I did give the kid his own computer. It's kind of like an old-fashioned computer again. It's like maybe this is the computer that the grandparents have like had for a while, and they're like, oh, we don't really know what to do with it. Like we just like have it lying around, and so the kid gets to have it in his room because the grandparents like wouldn't necessarily really need to use it for anything. So maybe he uses it to just like help with his homework or like plays little games when he's relaxing. I'm going to be playing with these Sims on short lifespan, so I keep meaning to look it up. I can't remember how long like each of the life stages last when you're on short lifespan in The Sims 4, so it might be the case that like this room needs to be like updated quite a bit, like, well, not quite a bit, but just like a little bit when the kid grows into a teenager, and I'm not 100% sure how soon that will be. I can remember in The Sims 2 that kids are kids for 8 days, I think, on the normal lifespan. So maybe that's what the short lifespan is in The Sims 4, but to be honest, I'll have to go in and check it to like see how quickly all the Sims will be growing up. I used a lot of this like cottage living pack for the kitchen. I really like this kitchen set. I grew up in the countryside in Kent in England, and like this kind of kitchen, like there were definitely still people that had kitchens that were sort of decorated in this way, and like people would have like a big Aga oven or something, and these kind of like curtain cupboards and like the Smeg fridge and stuff, which it definitely just like reminds me of that a lot. So I really enjoy using this pack, and I feel like having like 2 older Sims, 2 grandparents is just like a good excuse to like use the more old-fashioned stuff, because otherwise I probably do gravitate a bit more towards like building slightly more modern houses, just because it is very easy in The Sims 4 to like build or at least in my opinion it's kind of easier to build a modern house in The Sims 4, and most of the packs that come out have slightly more like modern looking furniture, which does make sense. It's kind of like built for the time we're living in. But I do really like the more old-fashioned stuff. And you can see the little music room that I was working on there. I also gave them a little games table, and like I feel like this would be a wholesome family who play games in the evening instead of watching the TV. Just quite a few like creative skills which I thought this family could work on. That's kind of it. This was a shorter build than the other one, so we're kind of coming to the end. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope you'll tune in for the Let's Play and also the other couple of speed builds that I've got left to come out. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.